Hello, true believers. I hope you're having a great start to the new year. With 2022 finally here, we're just a bit closer to some incredible Marvel content in movie theaters, streaming platforms, and even more Marvel video games. I'm your host, High Definition, and until then, I'd like to help you handle the long wait by analyzing details from your favorite Marvel video games in this new segment on the channel, and probably even other games in the future. Just let me know if you're interested. I mean, come on, I can't be the only one here salivating for some sweet Marvel goodness. So, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell for all things Marvel. Not just Marvel, but everything nerdy too. With that out of the way, let's shed some new light on a Marvel game that we already have access to right now. Why, of course, it's the oh so popular Marvel's Avengers game by Crystal Dynamics. While the developers have been getting plenty of angry tweets responding to their buggy yet somewhat ambitious updates for the past year, they hardly get enough credit for the hidden details in the game's lore. Or you could say it's possibly the best credit that they're getting next to their combat system, and tease characters for possible future updates.
Hey, any chance we'll get to see that scientist friend of yours again?
Dr. Foster has important work to do elsewhere.
I'm just saying, we could use a brain like hers.
Almost sounds like they learned something from a certain cinematic universe. Avengers players have recently opened back up the discussion of Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, in the game, thanks to the unofficial confirmation of the voice actress playing the character. While there has also been numerous theory crafting on Reddit on how She-Hulk will play in possible villain sectors we can experience, nobody seems to be talking about the possible She-Hulk villain already teased in the game by the developers themselves. So much that I'm bringing back attention to this Reddit post that I made about a year ago. If the name The Rumbler sounds familiar to you, then you, my friend, are a big She-Hulk fan, because I had no idea this character existed. My old post points to a movie poster in the Eastern Seaboard area that you can still find today on your own. Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out exactly where to take your search. But let's discuss what we're really here to talk about. The center actor on this movie poster, James David, for the uninitiated, first appeared in Sensational She-Hulk number 52 from 1993. Created by Michael Urie and Todd Britton, he's a She-Hulk villain that goes by the alias Rumbler. And if you didn't guess by now, he's also an actor in the comics, similar to what we see on this poster. For some quick backstory, James actually played a rebel biker called the Rumbler in films. He was known to often become drunk and explode into violent rages, with his lawyer keeping him out of jail for causing bar fights. One night, while drunk driving, David hits a young boy with his car and cripples him for life. Los Angeles County Deputy Morris Walters, also Jennifer Walters' father, later arrested David, but he makes bail and blames Morris for ruining his career. While driving home from jail, David vanished when his car was swallowed up by an earthquake. The notoriety of his disappearance only made him a bigger celebrity than his acting career, even overshadowing his criminal past. 30 years later, Deputy Morris hears on the news that James David returned from the dead and assumes it's an imposter. Morris later confronts said imposter at a restaurant and calls him out. But I'm sure we can all guess that it was the real James David here, who had actually survived. Except now he can control rocks and took his stage name Rumbler as his alter ego. Sadly for our actor, he lost a battle with She-Hulk after losing control of his quakes in an attempt to defeat her. So much that he loses control and is sucked back into the earth itself. Now, that has got to be one of the top 3 most embarrassing ways to die in comic books. Dying by your own power, that's just not responsible. Now that we know a bit more about our new Avengers villain, let's figure out how a She-Hulk villain sector and how the villain himself will operate. Now, just like our origin story for the Rumbler, I can see it centering around Jennifer's dad, Deputy Morris Walters, possibly investigating rumors of the actor returning to the public eye. Of course, this is all after James gets his tragic incident in the current Avengers game timeline, not 30 years prior like in the comics. Imagine James, at the peak of his fame, gets into his fated car accident during A-Day, then gets affected by some Terrigen mist in the process, before finally coming out of his hiatus during our current timeline as a disgruntled inhuman that can't control his abilities. While the comics portrayed him as a celebrity to the public, especially after his return, I can likely expect him to be a notable face turned villain, eventually feared by the people he used to entertain. Or who knows, maybe Monica will hire him too. Or maybe it's just a nice Easter egg. As to how the Rumbler will fight, I honestly can't see him as being too different from the Abomination or Maestro fights. My assumption is that it may be more of a ranged battle since his abilities are usually performed at a distance and he's not a huge hulking target that can charge at you. Here's hoping that the developers can bring some interesting new mechanics into our villain sectors. I'm thinking of a construction site of some sort that results in players slowly burying the Rumbler into his own rocky grave, possibly using construction equipment or whatnot. But that's everything that I have to share with you today about She-Hulk's teased villain in Marvel's Avengers. This video that I recorded here is for players that wish to see the Rumbler's Easter egg for themselves. Do you think I'm accurate about this new punching bag for your heroes? Or do you think we'll get someone entirely different? Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell for all things nerdy. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all on the next video.